Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to color again in Maria Troll's Nightfall. If you didn't see the video where I colored with my Crayolas in this gorgeous coloring book, I will make sure that is linked in the upper right hand corner. But with that video, I got a lot of comments and a lot of questions about how the Crayolas would work with the Prismacolor colored pencils. Most of you that have been watching my videos for quite some time or have done my color alongs here on my channel or any of my tutorials, you know that I mainly always use Prismacolors. But as of recently, I've been bringing in a whole lot of other pencils, trying to show you guys budget-friendly pencils and trying to show you that you don't need to spend a lot of money to be able to really enjoy this hobby. So with that being said, I wanted to be able to, in one video, answer everybody's question and actually show you how the Prismacolors worked with the Crayola Colored Pencils. I was coloring a little bit the other day and I found a gorgeous color combination. I wanted to bring out some of the beautiful, bright, beautiful colors that come in the Crayola set. And I wanted to put together a color combination with that, and I decided let me pull out my Prismacolor and just add one Prismacolor pencil and see if I could really increase the shadows and the depth of this flower. So I found a gorgeous color combination and I wanted to be able to share it with all of you, and I figured I would answer everyone's question at the same time, all in one video. So that's what we're going to do today. If you're new here and you love colored pencil tutorials and you love coloring and you would like to join our future color alongs, please do subscribe to my channel and also turn your bell notifications on so that you always get notified every time I post a new video. If you like this video, please do make sure that you give it a thumbs up because that helps my channel out greatly. We are going to color this page here. We're going to color this peony today. And I can't wait to show you with some of the color selections that we have in the Crayola set, how this is just going to pop off the page once we put these colors together. And I'm really excited to show you how just by using one Prismacolor, how these two different pencils are going to interact with one another. So let me go ahead and show you the colors that I have. So from the Crayola set, I've been dying to use this color. This color is called Winter Sky. It is beautiful. And then we have another color that is very bright and is just going to pop. We have Cantaloupe. And then I have a couple darker shades. This one is Orchid. And then I have Magenta. And then from my Prismacolors, I have the dark purple, and I'm going to use this just specifically for shadows. And I may even bring in some Posca as we finish up the flower just to add a few highlights, because we've got this black background and all of that together is just really going to increase the depth and the highlights. I have never until now colored one of the black background pages in one of Maria Troll's books. So I'm really excited to do this. I was testing it out the other day and I did it on another page, but the flower was really big because it was kind of the centerpiece of one of these pages. And I was like, I have to do this on film. I have to video this. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first color I'm going to start with is the Orchid. And I'm going to come in here and apply my darker shade to all the areas where I would want my flower petal to be darker. You guys know I always add the darker shade on my petals where the petals are each overlapping one another, because that's how you create all the extra depth that you need. Like here where the petal is more turned up, I would like to make that a little bit lighter, I think. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of the dark in here on this one. And maybe add the highlight in the center here. But I'm just going to kind of lay this around in all the areas that I think I want it. Everywhere where I see the overlaps of the petals. And I'm just kind of going over these lines here, or the dots, because I think that's just going to add a little bit more depth to the flower. I'm just using really, really light pressure as I color this. I'm not going in with a very heavy hand at all. And I think I want this one where it overlaps, I think I want that fairly light. Okay, so let me come back with my, what is this color? I think it's the magenta. Yeah, I've got the magenta now. And I'm just going to try to kind of pull some of this through. Look how pretty these colors look together. This pink with the purple. I'm just kind of extending everywhere where I laid that purple color. Make sure if you're following along that you leave some space for your highlight color, because we really want these colors with this gorgeous black background to just pop off the page. These Crayola pencils color so nicely in this book. Let's come back and bring in our winter sky, and this is the color that is really going to make this go pow. Look how gorgeous it is. Now I've not gotten to my Prismacolor yet, because I'm going to show you guys what happens when I add that Prismacolor. Again, I'm only adding this in certain places where I just want to be able to see this very hot pink, I guess you would call it. Because I have another highlight color, and that is my cantaloupe. So now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do this with the cantaloupe and just add this color in here. Look what this does. Look how pretty. It's a gorgeous color. These colors together, you would not think to put an orange toned color and mix it in with something that has so much purple in it. But look how pretty it is. Now with the Crayolas, I will say they are a wonderful pencil, but they're not Prismacolors. So you need to go with a lighter hand and treat them as though they are more so of an oil-based pencil, and just kind of lay them down slowly, because you are not going to get as much pigment Even if you use a much harder pressure, it's not going to benefit you to use hard pressure with these pencils because you're just going to use all the tooth of the paper and then you won't be able to get any more pigment down on the paper. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add this here on this petal where this petal is kind of flipped over. And I think I want to add a little bit of my winter sky in here too. Again, I'm just kind of going back and forth until I could actually see the pigment on the paper, and I'm using a very light hand. I'm just trying to add a little bit of detail in here and add a little bit of this hot pink here just so that it could kind of stand out. And you can see as I continue to come back and just lay the colors down, they do, or the pigment does go down much better on the paper, and you can add quite a bit of color. But just like with any pencil, or this hobby in particular, you do need to have some patience, especially when you're working with colored pencils. I'm trying to finish just this half of the flower because the other half of the flower I think I'm going to do it with a speed through. I think I want to add some of the cantaloupe down in here. Usually when I'm working with my Crayolas, I'll do my darker color and then I'll come in with my lighter colors because it seems to work that way a little bit better. But I'm trying it a little bit differently here to see what happens. And look at that. Here I'm mixing that very orange color with my darker purple, and it's actually blending together. Oh man. Look at that. So let's come back down in here and add a little bit more of our darkest purple color. And when you're doing this and you apply just a little bit more pressure, you're going to start to see more depth in these flower petals. I'm just going to keep adding more of this purple. What was the name of this color again? Orchid. So I'm just adding more of the orchid in all of the areas where I wanted a little bit more depth. But I really can't believe how I'm laying this orchid here, and I had the cantaloupe down, and those two colors that are very different from one another, they just really blend together fine. I am using a little bit more harder pressure here. I can't wait to show y'all what happens when I add my Prismacolor. Okay, so let's come back here with the cantaloupe and start adding it to where all the petals are kind of flipped up. I think we need to go ahead and do this petal here as well. In all the areas I want to add the orchid. I think I kind of forgot it. But I want to do half of the flower this way as a tutorial, and then I want to do the other half of the flower in a speed color. Just gonna make these a little bit more purple here. Come back in here with another layer. I think I have the purple everywhere that I want it for now. Let me come back with my winter sky. Oh wait, no, I need to come back first with my magenta. And I don't want to go all the way up here because I want quite a bit of highlights in that area. And I'm going to come back over here where I have the orchid. And you could see that I'm really starting now to get much more depth in this flower. The magenta with the orchid, when you put one over the other, it makes such a huge difference. So I'm just coming over all these petals with another layer. And I think I need to pull this through just a little bit. And I am going to just kind of line this here a little bit. Oh, look how pretty. Sometimes you just need to add your own little kind of artistic way of doing things. And it makes all the difference in the world. And I think I need to do a little something to this petal right here. I'm going to add some orchid right in here. And I think that I need to add some orchid over here to separate these two petals. And I'm using a little bit harder pressure now. And then over here I've got like a huge separation between these petals here. So I need to make sure I get in there with the darker color. And then especially right in here, I want it pretty dark. Let's go ahead and use the winter sky again and add some of this beautiful highlight color in some of these areas. This color really makes all the difference in the world. I've been wanting to come up with a combination for this color for so long. Ever since I got these pencils, I just keep looking at this color and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the most beautiful pink. There are some gorgeous colors in this set. Okay, so I think I need to finish off this one down here. So let me come in with my orchid and really just emphasize where these dots are to add a little more depth. And then I've got my winter sky. And my magenta here, and I just want to add a little bit of something over here just to, like I said earlier, add my own little bit of artistic flair to it. I zoomed you in quite a bit more because I've got my dark purple Prismacolor. It's PC931. And I just want to show you exactly what happens once I start adding the Prismacolor in here. Of course, we all know Prismacolors are much more pigmented, and even with lighter pressure, I'm going to have a lot more of the pigment lay down on the paper. So let's go ahead and start coming in here with this dark purple. This is a very dark color. And I don't really think I had, the only reason I went and pulled this out was because I did not really have a color this dark available in the Crayola set. Normally with the Crayola set, I would pull out a gray or something just to really emphasize the, the shadows. And I believe that I did that. I think I used black or gray or something that was of another color when I did the butterfly, or where I colored the butterfly, that video that I have on my channel that was so popular. I will make sure that that is linked in the upper right hand corner. But I've got a really sharp lead because I really want you to see the difference here as I lay this down. I'm sure you could already see the huge difference. But I'm just kind of going over some of the places where I had that orchid. But like right here, I'm trying to add just kind of my own artistic flair to it again. But I'm not coming down too far because I just really want that hot pink to really still stand out from the Crayola set. But look how adding this Prismacolor to this flower just changed the whole way that it looks, because it is so dark and so pigmented. And I'm holding it by the side. My lead is very, very sharp because I don't want to apply too much of this. And so if my lead is very, very skinny and very small, it's just going to create a line and the amount of depth that I want it to, without laying too much pigment down on the paper. And I'm not pushing too hard at all. So I'm just going back over all of the areas where I had that orchid laid. And right in here, I really want to show the separation between where this petal is flipped up or flipped down rather. But just look at the difference in this. And then I'm going to show you what happens when I come back with my Crayolas again. because I am going to add another layer of Crayolas, or another layer of color with the Crayolas. Coming in over here where these petals are kind of overlapping one another. And in here, I would imagine not a whole lot of sun is getting in here. So this should be rather dark. Trying to make sure my hand doesn't get in the way as I color. Okay, and then over here, again, where this petal is kind of standing to the front of the other one. And I think that we've gotten everywhere. I think it's time to come back so I can show you exactly how I'm going to add a little bit of dark in here. But I want to be able to show you exactly how, when I come back with my Crayolas, how those colors are going to work together. I'm going to start with my orchid, and I'm going to go over all these areas. Look how it just kind of pulls that wax from the Prismacolor. Do you see that on camera, how it's just kind of pulling that wax out? They work so well together. I was really amazed when I did this. And I was coloring that other peony, and I was like, I need to find another peony to color because I really need to show this on camera, because so many of you were asking me how the Prismacolors interact or work with the Crayola pencils. But can you imagine if you have the 150 set of Prismacolors and you get the 120 set of Crayolas? How many colors you would have, and all of the beautiful highlight colors that come in the Crayola set that are so different from anything that you get in the Prismacolor set. But that would be so many pencils. More than anybody needs. Look how beautiful. They just work together so nicely. And it just pulls all the colors together so wonderfully. Now I'm going to come back with my magenta, and I'm going to add a little bit more pink to these, to all of these petals. Look how it just keeps pulling it around. Make sure if you're following along that you leave quite a bit of open space so that you could come back with the colors that are really creating the gorgeous highlights, like this winter sky that I'm coming back with right now. I'm going in a circular motion and I'm just kind of pulling these colors together. And now that I'm getting close to done with these, I am using a little bit more pressure. Because I have quite a bit of pigment now laid down on every petal. And these colors are so pretty. You guys have to let me know down in the comments below what you think of this color combination. I absolutely love it. Now I'm going to come back with my cantaloupe. Gorgeous cantaloupe. Such a pretty highlight color. And I'm going to use it to pull all these colors together. And I am, like I always do, leaving a little bit of white. And since this is my highlight color and I've got plenty of pigment down on every one of these petals, I'm actually using much harder pressure here. So you probably see my desk shaking a little bit. Look how those just all pull together. I mean, it's still pulling together. If you can see that, it's still pulling together the pigment that I laid down from the Prismacolor. I love the addition of this cantaloupe color. It makes such a difference. So I think I'm going to come back and I'm going to add a little bit more of my Prismacolor just to kind of darken it up. These colors look absolutely beautiful together. You could see all the highlights just kind of popping off the page. I think by the time it's done, it's going to look really fabulous with the black background. So let me go ahead and just finish this flower, and I'm going to speed it up and set it to music. think the flower is finished, but we do have to do the center here. And usually in a peony, those are yellow. So I think that I want to go ahead and add some stickles right there. But of course, like I always do, I'm going to color them with yellow because the sunburst color that I like to use when I'm using yellows is not as opaque. So this way it will really make it look yellow. I have my canary yellow Prismacolor, and I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to color these in. I'm just doing some straight coloring. There's nothing more to it than that. Just straight color them in. And then I'm going to come back with my stickles. Again, it's the sunburst color, one of my absolute favorites. And I'm going to come in here and just go over the center of the flower. I also want to take my Posca pen and I just want to make a few little highlights on my flower. I'm just trying to decide where I want them. So let's start over here. Our flower is done. I love the way that it turned out. So you can see the huge difference that it makes when you just add in a few extra things. If you were to have the 150 set of Prismacolors and you added in the Crayola set just to get all those gorgeous pops of color that comes with that set, you would have 270 different pencils in different colors that you could put together and make and create different color combinations. We came in at the end and added a little bit of Posca as well and a little bit of stickles. The stickles just gives it that added extra bit of depth, and the Posca creates a few extra highlights in there along with the colors that we chose for our highlights. So I hope that you love the flower. I hope that you were able to follow along in this tutorial if you had this book, or to be able to color any other peony that you may have found in another book. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up, and I hope to see you in the next one. Happy coloring. Bye.